Philadelphia is known for some pretty cool structures out there. And after the bricks that were laid this afternoon by your Philadelphia 76ers, they're there for one more game and they have time to add to it. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers post-game show, preseason edition, live from the Xfinity Lounge. We are presented, as always, by Rothman Orthopedics. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY. And while you're here hanging out with us to start things off on this preseason post-game show, do us a favor and hit that like button, everybody.
That's right.
Hit that like button and let us know how you feel about the show and your basketball team and their game one of preseason.
Well, no, don't let us know how you feel about the basketball team.
Well, by hitting the likes, though.
They were bad.
Hit the likes for us because we're doing a post-game show on a Thursday afternoon, and we all had to watch that. And we're also close to 50,000 subscribers, so spread the word, everybody. Get it out there. I think we're less than 400 away to 50,000, so please help with the subscribing to the channel and liking our show. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take care of that. Like and subscribe to the show. Derek, Kyle, Devon, Bree is here as well, president of basketball operations. All of you ready to go in the chat. I see it. Final score for the Sixers and the Knicks this afternoon in Abu Dhabi, game one of the Abu Dhabi games, 99-84. And we had some good things. VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, and we had some bad things. The shooting. Do we have an answer yet? Or at least early on?
Real quick, Devon.
Yes.
Good news. They corrected the box score after the game. The Sixers didn't shoot 3 for 36 from three.
Yes.
They shot 3 for 35. So major difference and correction made right after the game ended. That changes everything.
And that has never happened in franchise history, at least in the regular season where they have taken that many threes and made that few of them.
Yeah. So did anybody separate themselves from each other for the 5 minutes there early on in the preseason? Do we have anything about the wings, the power forward? We'll talk about it. We got a player of the game, WTF moment of the afternoon. We're in preseason form, but we're already jumping into the regular season. Derek, your first impressions of VJ Edgecombe for this basketball game.
I wish he threw that dunk on Mitchell Robinson.
Bree, let's just get to it early. He's already jumping right into it. Let's just get to the WTF moment of the afternoon. This was what the did you just try to do?
In like
this
a
was
good
a good
way.
Yes, this was a good WTF of what did you try to do there? And he tried it, and he almost made it too, man. If anybody didn't see it, you're at work and you're like, what are you guys talking about? Check this out. Nice pass from Kennedy Chandler, one of the best things he did this afternoon.
Had it, man.
And man, VJ, I sent you another one, Bree, another a clip where you could see the angle better with both of them. The close up after the television went right back to it.
It was,
but you
though,
talk about it though.
Well, I mean, when we were talking about it while it was going on, I don't even think Robinson got like a hand on it or a finger, and like he obviously impacted it because VJ had to feel like he had to really go up high and strong and really get good extension on that hand. But man, if he could have just held on to that ball, like that would have been. For a preseason game, that would have been an incredible welcome to the NBA moment.
And a lot of people are normally like, why are you focused on a missed dunk? He missed it.
Well, because they missed 35 threes and the game was a slog to watch. Of course we're going to focus on the dunk.
But it's also because you haven't had, Ricky Council certainly did it. This is a really good angle on the replay.
Mitchell Robinson just falling back like, ah!
And Mitchell Robinson will challenge things at the rim as he did, so that's his job. He's supposed to do that. But for that young guy to have the chops going up against somebody like that is a known shot blocker, somebody who protects the rim really well, to challenge him that way in his first game, that was a positive sign because we haven't seen a lot of people in Sixers uniforms with the athleticism to that level. Ricky Council would try it recently, maybe a few others in a couple of years past, but to see him do that, and we already knew about the athleticism. We always joke about the one he made against Coach Few's son when they played Gonzaga in his first game with Baylor. But that one right there, man, that was really something to see early on.
And it was nice because you needed an exciting moment in the game. It was kind of boring to watch there in the second half. But I love the fact that he didn't have fear going up there. And I mean, look, Robinson's a good shot blocker. That was a tough attempt.
He is.
But he also just did like so many, like there were a lot of encouraging signs from VJ. And in a game where every shot was an adventure, him coming out there, I thought he did a good job, especially early on, fighting through screens on the perimeter, which is something he's going to have to learn how to navigate to really be an impact defender early on in his career. It's one of the things you really tend to struggle with, even good defenders. I thought he did a pretty good job of that early on. He made some pretty nice passes. He made 1 3. He looked like he wasn't hesitant on the threes. We won't talk about the other 5 attempts because they didn't go in, but he looked like he was at least a willing.
Hey,
nobody did.
Nobody made
He was
threes.
he was arguably the best 3-point shooter on the team today, even as a rookie. A little bit of sarcasm there, but I thought he was willing. He had a nice catch and shoot attempt early that wasn't close, but I'm just glad that he attempted it. And he had a couple of nice like stop and pop 2-footed pull up jumpers in traffic, that one of which he drew a foul on. It was a pretty cheap foul, but just the fact that he was clearly looking to draw that foul was, I think, encouraging. And again, something he didn't really do all that much in college. So I think they're just a bunch of little things saying like, all right, look, he's figuring stuff out. And it's going to take time maybe for the efficiency to get there. Like even Tyrese Maxey as a rookie wasn't very efficient. It takes time for young guards to really learn all the tricks of the trade. But I thought he did his mentality of how to attack was, I think, generally strong. And I think he was locked in on both ends.
So very notable to me, he was second on the team in rebounds today.
Mm-hmm.
And that's damning with faint praise to some extent. You had, I believe, Barlow led the team with 10, and we'll probably talk about Dominic Barlow at some point. He didn't do much else other than rebound, but on this team, if you don't do much else other than rebound, you are God's gift to earth, essentially.
Getting some minutes. Yep.
I think what you saw early on before this game devolved into like a pretty typical preseason slop fest over the course of the final 2.5 quarters, we'll say, was the team speed that they can put on the floor. When you have Maxey, when you have VJ, when you have Adem Bona, you can turn a defensive stop into a fast break, into points going the other way very quickly, right? And VJ did that not just, hey, pushing the pace by dribbling, but also end the possession, get the rebound, look for an outlet, right? Like one of his first plays that he made that jumped out at me was go and get a rebound in traffic, look up the floor, you have a streaking Kelly Oubre running down the left wing, hit him with the outlet, Kelly gets fouled, he goes to the free throw line for early points, right? So I love that he's playing with his head up in transition. I love that even when he doesn't have the ball, he's running with Tyrese Maxey. And I think you saw his athleticism pop on a bunch of different plays, in a bunch of different ways, right? The dunk attempt on Robinson, on rebounds. Frankly, even before the dunk attempt is the setup, right? Looks like he's coming back for a dribble handoff. Then the quick explosion on the cut. Did a lot of good work out of cuts today where he's finding drop-off passes or spraying the ball out to shooters. Picked up 3 assists, but frankly probably could have gotten 4, 5, 6 assists if anybody had a prayer at throwing the ball in the ocean today for the Sixers. So I asked these guys in the middle of the game, I was like, VJ is already the best passer on this team. I think the impressive thing is that he's able to have that downhill athleticism, play at the speed he does, while not losing sight of other people, while not losing sight of playmaking opportunities and playing with good decision-making, right? So you also saw the downsides of VJ, right? The shot is streaky, so it isn't quite there. I was very happy with the shot that he made, right? Because it's a jab step pro level 3, right? Those are not shots that he was taking a ton of at Baylor. You want to see more of those. The arc was good on most of his shots, particularly on the 3. He told us during training camp that that's something that he's working on. But then the finishing as well around the basket was a roller coaster. And we talked during the pre-draft process, pickup points are a big thing for him, right? Where he's such an explosive athlete that I think sometimes he thinks, I can get up for a dunk. And so he gathers the ball and he takes off from too far. And then you run into the Mitchell Robinsons, the Karl Anthony Towns, the big men of the world. And all of a sudden, that layup or that dunk that looked a little easier from 12 feet out is a lot tougher once you get to the rim. So mixed bag there. Didn't see a lot of the true mid-range pull-up game. But overall, looked at home, looked comfortable, was one of their 2 best players on the floor. And I think more than anything, you look at him and you say, I look forward to him playing with real NBA players, which he didn't get to do for a lot of this game, because the spacing that him and Maxey were having to play out of for a lot of that game was far from ideal. And while we can say, hey, they were missing Joel and PG and Grimes and McCain, that's all well and good. Some of these guys that are out there are real rotation players, and they're going to have to be pretty deliberate with some of these lineups and rotations in order to avoid 3 defenders crashing on Maxey and Edgecombe when they are driving to the basket.
I'll go back to the preseason game, the Summer League game against the Utah Jazz. I know we referenced it the other day, but going back to our conversation after that first game where we were all excited to watch him, and the very first thing I said to Kyle Bree and Derek was he looked the part. And saying it again here after that one, he looked the part. I mean, he got that first rebound that Kyle is talking about. I think it was like a 5-2 score, Knicks ahead. He got that rebound right around the free throw line, and then he just unleashed that kick-ahead pass to Kelly Oubre, giving him an opportunity to get fouled and get to the rim. That's one play. And then that backdoor cut, a hard, sharp cut that he made where Chandler had to make a nice bounce pass, but he had to make the cut first to give him a lane and a vision, a passing lane, to attempt that pass, to get it to him, for him to attempt what was going to happen there. I'll also add into, jokingly, that we talk about here about my lob stuff that we discussed, but that pass that he made early to Bona, that was a good read right away of seeing the defense collapse, and the best way to make that pass to your big man was up top and not lower where you have to bounce pass or try to wrap around the defender to drop it off into his hands. The right play was in the air, let him catch and finish at the rim and do that. And he just looked like he belonged out there. And he looked like he was, as Kyle said, the second best player on the Sixers team.
Which also isn't saying much.
It's not saying much, but it is saying much because Kelly Oubre was still out there. And we always talk about him elevating himself when he sees the moment to do so. And instead, it was the rookie who looked like the one that was, no, I'm elevating myself. I'm trying to fit in, but I'm also going to plant my foot here first and let everybody know that I'm here. So while the shots weren't falling early against the Jazz in that summer league and he had to make that one layup, when he finally made that other layup, the shots they didn't look bad. They were good-looking attempts. They just weren't falling again. But he looked the part. Defensively, we talked about it yesterday of how was he going to look against the wings. And Anunoby did not play. Mikal did. But the 2 guards were out there from Brunson and McBride. How was he going to look against them as well? But as Derek pointed out in his open, that he really fared well of how he was going around those screens, going over the top, not going underneath, following them and staying within himself, and also not committing a lot of silly fouls that you typically see from rookies out there on the floor. He had 1 personal foul in this game, and he was going against Brunson, McBride, Clarkson. Kale was out there as well.
You defended Mikal Bridges to start the game,
pretty
so
early.
We saw a little bit of the defensive versatility already.
Yeah, so with that, my first impression of him, and as we say, it's only the first game, it's only the first preseason game, and I can't wait to see him with some of the other players that will be healthy and suited up with him, the other professionals that belong out there on the floor with him, is that he just looked the part. So as we continue to go along and we'll look at how he fits with this team and how he fits in the league and fits with the rookie class that he's a part of. First eye test, good choice. And it's one thing that we said about Daryl Morey is that he drafts right. And while there were a lot of players that we discussed leading up to the draft in June and the players that could fit here for their various skill sets, his also fit, and they might have gotten one right. It's early, but this was a good showing despite the shooting numbers of 4 for 13 and 1 for 6 from beyond. He also, Kyle, he didn't turn the ball over. He had 1 turnover where it was a lot of.
That was a problem even for Maxey today.
Yeah,
Maxey's ball security was not good in that
There's
game.
a lot of stuff going on out there, a lot of loose dribbling and a lot of losing of the basketball. He only had 1 turnover, and he was out there for a team-high 30 minutes and 31 seconds.
Yeah. So, again, I am certainly not throwing a parade over the shooting performance that he had. I still have a lot of concerns about the game-to-game streakiness shooting, the finishing around the basket, but in terms of just preseason debut where you're trying to do more than you're going to be asked to do, frankly, when this team is healthy and this team has a complete lineup, I think you saw plenty of flashes and looked like defensively held up pretty well, right? Like I think he had some moments where you saw the over-aggression that we've talked about at times, right? Where he tries to overplay. It's a little jumpy, trying to get in passing lanes, trying to create a turnover, and guys were able to sneak by him. But I think the overall level of switchability was probably more important, right? Like they freely let him go from guards to wings to just whoever during the course of a possession. There were even some brief moments where in a pick and roll, he was switched on to Karl Anthony Towns and they scram switched that well. So didn't end up with him on an island having to defend that kind of post up. But that was encouraging. And that to me suggests like, look, he's going to have opportunities at multiple positions this year. And Nick Nurse said that on media day, but you have to actually see that. The multi-guard lineups are going to happen a lot. If you are playing Eric Gordon, Kennedy Chandler, and VJ Edgecombe together in a preseason game, my estimation is that tells us a lot about how much we'll probably see of Maxey, Grimes, Edgecombe, Maxey, McCain, Edgecombe, different combinations of that 4-guard group because they're playing it early and they are playing it often, even when they are down to, Exhibit 10 and G League guys.
Yeah. No, I think when they burn VJ that post-game CD so he can watch his highlights at home, I think there's going to be a lot of defensive possessions that they can watch.
Yep.
Devon didn't get a reaction on that. Okay.
Sorry, I was talking to Bree. No, but the defensive stuff, it's funny because when we talked about it and we even had the film session here, that you could see him a lot of time where he would get caught with his head turn or he was too jumpy, as Kyle said. His feet were too planted, and he really didn't anticipate the move and jump and beat to the spot. And you saw some of that today, and you're going to see that going forward. But for the most part, he really held up pretty well against all those players. Yeah. And again, I like what I saw out of him in this first action.
No, and I thought like he had a real nice Euro step and like semi-transition that he got the bucket with. Yeah, but the move
but
I
it was
liked.
A good move, yeah.
And then he had that, where he flashed middle, got the pass, and I think dumped it off to Barlow, I think it was. But he had a number of instances where, like, if the game was going too quick for him, he would have turned it over, or he would have committed a charge, or he would have made a bad pass. He just didn't make those kind of negative plays, and he pulled off a couple of pretty advanced reads, whether that's reads passing the ball, reads in terms of how to get to his spots. I do think overall, like, the shooting will come and go. And I think that's going to be a struggle for him out of the gate, or at least it could be. I think it probably will be. But I think like it just didn't seem like the moment was too big for him, that his head, like the game was going too fast for him. It seemed like he was pretty well in control.
They will be much better off when VJ needs to be the
fourth or fifth
best shooter rather than the second best shooter, which was, or frankly, first best shooter, which he often had to be throughout the game today, right? Like, you get PG, you get Grimes, you get McCain. There will be lineups where there are shooters all over the floor rather than, hey, if VJ doesn't make shots, there are no driving lanes for Tyrese Maxey or anybody else.
Man, watching that clip again, just as I'm talking back and forth with Bree here, if he would have finished that dunk, man, that's I mean,
no victory laps for me on an almost dunk.
Nah, for me it is, and I'll take it. I'll take that one. I always stand on those. All right, when we come back, we'll talk about some more things. First time we've seen Tyrese Maxey since early March 3rd, I believe, of the 2024-25 season. We'll talk about what we saw from him outside of the 5 turnovers that Kyle and I just mentioned, and also the 3-guard lineups, the backup big man minutes, and much more as the Sixers back in action, preseason style from Abu Dhabi, taking on the New York Knicks. They fall. VJ Edgecombe, impressive, despite the numbers not really standing up to support it, but the eye test, he passed it at least in game 1. We'll discuss more, including Tyrese Maxey, when we get back right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
And guys, if you were watching with the same service that we were using during the game, you had a moment where you were a little bit frustrated because you couldn't watch it. Now, this wasn't the problem necessarily of streaming, but when you're trying to focus on a game and the experience is less than ideal, it's very, very, very frustrating. You cannot let that happen. Lagging, buffering, you need the best experience. And if you're a basketball fan, you have to have Xfinity. It's the ultimate sports destination. I can find the best games and my favorite teams all in one place. The way that I watch is next level. Got all the action right in my living room, plus Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K. It's so clear that it feels like I'm in the arena. On top of that, I get real-time notifications and live stats right on my TV. It's the best seat in the house every time. Next game day, make sure that big fan isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box.
And while we were watching the game, I said, I feel bad for my guy, Josh Hart, with the little back tweak that he had. He had to leave the game, and it immediately made me think about if he needs a second opinion, he can go to our good friends from Rothman Orthopedics. He's familiar with the area. But if you, like him, are just simply, we've all been there, trying to power through some things, some nagging injuries, that stubborn pain that you're dealing with. But when rest isn't cutting it, it's time that you make sure you call the experts, and that's why we do trust Rothman Orthopedics. Whether it's a professional game like Josh Hart or a pickup game that you're playing, Rothman specialists are here to treat whatever's holding you back. Their top-tier care will have you moving and enjoying every minute of fun. Patients will find the full spectrum of orthopedic care at Rothman Orthopedics. From diagnosis to discharge, they provide their patients with every service and procedure necessary, such as x-rays, orthotics, bracing, MRIs, PT, and much more. If pain is slowing you down this season, folks, take the first step. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY. Learn more. Schedule your appointment today. Rothman Orthopedics, your mobility, their mission.
Man, Michael Jordan had those on the bus.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that's how I know. They're the headphones.
That's a Discman.
A what?
Where you had the CD, the music.
Uh-huh.
You had the CD, so one album, and you can you open this, drop it in there, and let the music play.
And you got to switch the CD out every time?
You got to switch the CD out every time. So you're
so you
spoiled.
just keep a stack of CDs?
There was an actual CD book where you kept all the CDs individual in the book.
Bro.
Yes. That's a little snippet.
The king of the CDs himself, VJ Edgecombe.
That's a snippet from our conversation with VJ Edgecombe, now available on our YouTube page. Please go check it out. When you open up PHLY, just go to the video section. And when you do, you'll see our stuff from Media Day, from the press conferences that Kyle and Derek were at, Rich and I downstairs, Nick Nurse, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, those are out. That's a snippet from VJ Edgecombe where we had a little bit of fun asking them about some different things. Bree's putting that together currently, so it's a compilation. Get ready for all that. Fun conversation overall. Make sure you go check it out. If you want to see it again, it is on our PHLY_Sixers Twitter account. Derek, Kyle, myself, we've all tweeted it out as well. So if you want to see that again, laugh about it, talk about it.
Funny kid, man. Nice kid.
Go check it out. Fun conversation on Media Day with VJ Edgecombe.
It was very funny. His for real at the end had me dying. And then the after effect was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm 1,000 years old.
Listen, Father Time is undefeated. That's why Charles Barkley has said that phrase 8 million times on Inside the NBA. So
welcome back to the PHLY Sixers podcast. Make sure you go hit that like button.
yeah, we got like 200 something people in here and not that many likes. It helps the show out to do it. It makes us feel warm and fuzzy inside. I can't sleep at night if you don't do it. It also says thank you to Bree, who some people are learning is the producer of our show. We call her our president of basketball operations. She makes this thing go. Hit that damn thumbs up button. It takes no work at all except a little click on it. Thank you very much.
Why does it look like this finger is like a middle finger if you actually almost had like...
I mean, you're the one holding it. You tell me.
Let me turn it the other way. Make it look much better. All right, Kyle, Tyrese Maxey. First time we've seen him since March, outside of some videos that we've seen, certainly shooting after practice since training camp has been underway when they were here in the States, and some videos, again, that they've put out there. But he looked like Tyrese Maxey, even when the shots weren't falling. I think he was 5 for 13.
I would have liked to see him make
5
a
for 12.
single three.
5 for 12. 5 for 12 out there.
All right, so I'll go negative first and then lead into what I liked, right? He didn't make a single three, and a couple of those shots were just like, you're never taking those shots in games, right? The one fadeaway three from the corner was very much like this is Tyrese Maxey playing preseason moment. Now, one of the logo threes that he took, it's like, okay,
that's normal.
You feel it. He's feeling it out a little bit, and during the minutes he's going to play today, you might as well get one of them up. The other thing, and I mentioned it already, the ball security was not good, right? He had, I believe, 5 turnovers against 4 assists, and a couple of them were just, he did not feel pressure well. There was one in semi-transition where he got it poked away from behind. Like, those are plays that, as a 6th-year veteran, guy who's been through a lot of experiences at this point, he can't turn that ball over.
No.
He's got to, head on a swivel, feel somebody physically, play a little bit wider and lower if he needs to. Didn't like that. Now, what I did like the slashing that he showed in that game, I thought was really good. Did a nice job of balancing the initiating contact and getting to the free throw line. I know he only got 4 free throws, but very good job of finding those little spaces because he didn't have a lot of space. When you shoot 3 for 35 from 3 as a team, you are not going to have a lot of opportunities to cut through open space in the middle of the floor. Did a good job of that. Good job getting to his floaters and runners, which...
Good to see that back, man.
Yeah, I don't want to see him relying on that a ton. You want it to be part of the arsenal, but not this overwhelming part of the arsenal because that means you're not getting all the way to the rim. You're not getting those true drive and kick, create corner 3 opportunities. But I think overall he had a nice balance there between the in-between game, getting to the basket and getting fouled. And look, he's not someone who needs to prove anything in these games.
Yeah.
So you're going to get maybe 10 to 15 good, strong minutes out of him. And then you start dialing it back. Then you start seeing the ridiculous fadeaway corner 3s and the effort dials down a little bit. But you can see that he's one of the best players on the floor. He was certainly their best player on the floor when he was out there. And I am looking forward. I said this in the recap I wrote at allphly.com. I'm looking forward to seeing him playing with more than one other guy who's a real threat off the dribble and more than maybe 1.5 players who can shoot next to him. Because when you give this version of Tyrese Maxey more space and ability to score on his own rather than, hey, defense collapses all on me and making the passing reads, that's when he's the most dangerous. So nothing overwhelming, nothing special from him, but some nice moments as a driver.
I do disagree. I'll push back on the floater teardrop, the runners that he takes, because for me, this is just me as a basketball observer, where I understand the spraying it out to the 3-point line, which he does a lot, and also getting to the rim and finishing at the rim a lot. That is an in-between game where I think certain players, it's kind of like what we talk about with the mid-range shot, with that pull-up shot, that he is so good at it. He is so dynamic at getting to the rim and kicking the ball out to his teammates that are on the perimeter, that a shot like that, for me, is always a good one because he makes those at a pretty decent clip. It's a threat there. You can still get guys in foul trouble when they try to attack it because that'll piss the hell out of a big man if they cannot get that shot and block it. And then they are anticipating it again the next time, and they're certainly going to go up in there, and their body's going to go into you. They might smack your arm where you're going up there, and it's another way for you to get to the free throw line if they do commit that. So for me, I still like the floater. I like the teardrop. That may be against like Kyle pointed out, he likes it, but not as much as me. What the team may want, and when you look at analytical things, I still like the runner, the teardrop. I still think it's an effective play in the game, and I have no problem when he takes them because I think that's a good shot. It's not like he's bailing out. I think it's a good look for him because he makes them.
Yeah, no, look, when you're a high usage player, and Tyrese, especially when Joel's been out, is as high usage as you're ever going to see him, not all of your shots are going to be analytically efficient shots. You need to have counters. Especially with someone like Tyrese, who is at a disadvantage at the rim when he's heavily contested. So pulling an occasional floater out is fine. I agree with Kyle. You can overdo it. And at times, you can rely on that when there is one more dribble and you can get all the way there and get a higher percentage look and a better chance of being fouled. So at times you can overdo it, but first of all, it's preseason. Second of all, I thought he got to the rim pretty well.
Right.
Regardless.
That was the point. It's not that he did a good job of balancing it today. Where I get worried is when it becomes that's most of the shot diet. And that was the worst games he played last year where I'm just falling back on that because I know I have that. And then you don't get to the rim. You don't get fouled. And you're not taking threes and you're not creating threes. And so even if you take 8 floaters and you make 6 of them, that's a very high percentage on those shots. But you're losing by 15 points because you aren't taking threes and you're not creating threes for guys who, frankly, most of them are guys who are just going to stand around on the perimeter and wait for you to create something for them. So that's more what I'm talking about. And that's not a today problem. That's because so much pressure, and we can get to Nick Nurse and they did not change today and what they looked like, but they don't manufacture threes as a team well. It's all on the players and all on someone like Maxey, which is not really fair. But because of that, that's why we have to kind of hyper scrutinize where his shots come from. Today, not a problem. In the big picture, I do think it can be a problem.
But I do think, going back to something you said, if there's one person who looked like he was in preseason mode, especially after the first quarter, I do think it was Tyrese.
Yeah. It was like 8 good minutes and then I'm turning it off.
Yeah. Which, that's fine.
He should do.
He knew what his limit was going to be today anyway. They told him how much he was playing, and they have one more game, and since they're over there, the stars are going to play. George and Embiid are not, so he has to be the one that carries that star mantle for sure out there. What did you make of Maxey's performance? Just so overall, we talked about the floater game and all that stuff, but his performance.
No, I mean, look, I think what Kyle said with the ball security was absolutely there. I do think a lot of them came, like I said, after the first couple of minutes when it seemed like he was in, don't want to call it coast mode, but not in regular season focus mode. And a lot of times that really is just focus. And Kyle brought up the one where he was, got the ball hit away from behind. Like, that's just focus. Like, that's not a skill thing. That's not a, he hasn't worked on his ball handling or anything like that. Like, he lost focus at times today, which quite frankly, I'm fine with. I think he got to the rim well, especially given the complete lack of spacing around him. I think he found ways to slither in there and get to the cup. And I think, again, for the first quarter and a half or so, I thought he competed pretty well defensively too, which has always been, one of the knocks that he has tried to address over the last couple of years.
I agree. I was encouraged by that today.
He was fine until he wasn't.
Yeah. There were a couple plays in either early offense for the Knicks or just like true half court sets where his guy made a hard cut or he had to make a rotation. And let's be frank, a lot of NBA players of his stature are not making those rotations, are not making that effort. And so that was there. And if he's coming in talking about, we got to set a standard, that applies to him too on defense. And so I think he deserves a bit of credit for he was locked in on that end. Whether they were ultimately good enough there is another story. But as far as what he can do, he did what he is expected to do as one of the leaders of the team.
All right, let's take our final pause here on the show. When we come back, the guys have already teased it. I think they really want to talk about Nick Nurse's offense in the preseason. So let's take a pause. We come back. When we do, Nick Nurse, the conversation is on the table about you. We'll do that when we get back right here.
People
Sixers
are already
fall.
ready to fire the coach in the chat. First preseason game.
99-84 preseason game number 1 in the Abu Dhabi games against the Knicks. It's the PHLY Sixers podcast presented by our good friends from Rothman Orthopedics. Did you bet on that game? Did you? All right. I don't know if you did.
Didn't.
All right. Kyle didn't. If you did, all right, we'll give you a break this preseason for. But if you are placing wagers, Bet365 is the place to go whenever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. And we now understand who the Philadelphia Phillies will be playing. That's the Los Angeles Dodgers. So if you're looking forward to watching some playoff baseball with your home team taking on the LA Dodgers, well, you got to go to Bet365. 90 million users worldwide. You need to be one of those. I'm one of them. These guys, we're all part of that with the Bet365 family as well. When it comes to baseball, there is an early payout offer that you can, in fact, take advantage of. If your team goes up 5 runs ahead with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections, marked as winners, all you have to do is download the app, use code PHLY365 when you sign up. And breaking news from Bet365, new customers, you get $200 in bonus bets when you sign up. And when you do, you bet $5, win or lose. That sign up, use code PHLY365. You deposit 10, place a bet for $5, $200 bonus bets in your account if your bet wins or loses. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and you want help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Guys, Phillies playoff games are upcoming. Sixers regular season, Eagles, wherever you might want tickets to, the Game Time app is the absolute best place and the best way to unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps, right? It's very simple. You pull up the event you want to go to. Like right now, I'm looking at Phillies playoff tickets. You can see the exact price it's going to be, the exact zone it's going to be, panoramic seat views. And what you also know is the Game Time guarantee, because with the Game Time guarantee, they will give you 110% of the difference if you can find a better deal elsewhere, but you can't, because that's their guarantee. Your purchase is also covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. And all those fees are up front, so you don't get through 15 steps and go all the way to the end and then find out they're actually more expensive than you thought. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it, Devon?
Game time. Woo! Welcome back.
So we're doing that again now.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
It's part of the show.
I got shamed by Devon
Yes,
the other day, so
yes.
now we got to do it again.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers podcast. Derek, Kyle, Devon, Bree is here, president of basketball ops. All of you in the chat, we appreciate it as always. Make sure you hit that like button to tell Bree how great of a job she is doing. And all right, team, we got to talk about Nick Nurse and the offense because you guys need to watch games with us because when you hear I'm sitting there, me and Bree on the couch, they're at the table behind us, and it is funny to we just said it. All right, it's preseason, but even in the preseason, if they don't like it as far as what the offense looks like, we're going to talk about it on the show. What did you make of the offense or lack thereof?
I mean, it looked exactly like it did last year.
Yep.
And that's and look, it's game one.
You just said it's preseason.
No.
though.
I'm gonna get all the
and no one
disclaimers
was
out of
out
the way.
there on the floor.
It's game one of the preseason. You're missing 4 starters.
Exactly.
Yada yada yada.
Ah.
But man, if there was one thing I was just desperate to see, it's just a little bit of creativity out there, just a little bit of movement.
Maybe like one new play.
Give me like one Spain pick. I want the players to
We just
draw up
talked
like
about
a
the
Spain
backdoor
pick and
cut
roll.
from VJ going right there in the middle of the floor. That was a play, wasn't it? No design there? No? All right. I'm trying, Nick Nurse. I'm trying.
It's very dribble handoff, little weave, attack. That's it.
Look, we have said it 100 times. His overarching philosophy is simplicity, right? You trust your best players to make plays and to share the ball, right? You read and react is the best way to describe it. VJ Edgecombe, if you have an opportunity to drive at somebody, drive. If that's not there, pass. If you have enough space to shoot, shoot. Like, it's all very straightforward. But what it leads to a lot of the time is a lot of side to side, a lot of dribble handoffs that don't really accomplish a whole lot. And look, I think the hope is that it looks different and it looks more explosive when you have the actual talent on the floor, right? When it's not just Maxey and Edgecombe, but Maxey and Edgecombe and Grimes and PG. And you got to think about Joel Embiid. And then McCain's coming in off the bench and you have his shooting. You're moving him off the ball. You got to keep account of him at all times. But I just would like to see more motion, more off-ball work, more just help for the guys who are being expected to create instead of just beat your man and that's it, right? And that's kind of the philosophy that Nick Nurse has played with. And I think the concern is this has been Nick Nurse's offense for a long time. This was not just last season. This is not just since he got to Philadelphia. This is how he wants to play. And he said on day one of training camp that they were making offensive changes and they want to make tweaks. And maybe we see those when they actually have the top of the lineup guys all available. But we're not going to see those top of the lineup guys all out there and available more than likely until the regular season. And the whole idea, the whole thing that they've talked about is we got to win and we have to look good and we have to have an identity with or without stars. I understand today is an extreme example because McCain and Grimes are also out on top of the older players, but I don't know. I would like to see more of a cohesive offensive identity. I do think they look pretty good defensively, and some of that is that the Knicks shot poorly as well, but they're switchable, they're fluid, like they mixed up coverages in the sense that they played full court press or 3/4 court press at times, and then they back off and they let the Knicks bring it up a little bit more before Kelly's getting into somebody's chest. VJ is over pursuing whatever it might be. So that part I like. The defensive stuff I think I like. But last year the big problem offensively is exactly what we saw. Yeah. There wasn't a lot of structure, and so guys are just out there dying on a vine. I don't want to go through another season of that.
And look, of course it's going to look different with Joel, but like a big thing we said was, okay, he's going to miss time. This is going to happen. You just experienced last year. What are you going to do when he's not on the floor? And look, again, one preseason game, all extenuating circumstances acknowledged. It just wasn't what I was hoping to see. I understand it's probably it was unrealistic to expect something completely different. But man, Eugene brought this up in the chat or something similar. Remember when Brett used to always say well, I've got so many new faces, so we're running vanilla. I feel like we've been running vanilla for 11 years, man.
I think that probably hits the nail on the head.
I just don't think I agree with you guys that show me another play or another two that's a little bit different. We know it's going to be generic in the preseason where you're not going to give away some stuff that if you do have new things that you've now implemented into the offensive playbook that you don't want to show it. Got it. Plus, there was no one out there. I got it. I agree with you guys there. I saw a nice ATO that was ran. That was pretty good.
No, ATOs are generally better.
Yeah,
I agree.
That one was pretty good. I saw a nice ATO. They got a finish. They got a bucket out of that one. That cut that we just talked about with VJ. I don't think that was more ad lib. I think it was not an instinctual thing. I think that was a play that was ran. And so I saw that. And guys, there's no way in the world that he's not coming into this season after the 2 seasons that we have seen of the generic basketball where there are not some adjustments on.
I hope so. I hope you're right.
There's no way in the world that if so, whoever you said was saying earlier that, it's time for Nick Nurse to go already after.
Yeah,
one
look,
preseason
obviously
game.
we are not
We're
saying
not
that.
saying
It's
that.
a single preseason game
Yes.
across the world. So
Yeah.
We are expressing mild frustration about a basketball game that doesn't matter and is the first one we've seen in 6 months. That's it.
Yes. Yes. So with that, show a little bit more. Maybe we'll see another play or two in game number 2, and then they'll come back and they have to be working on some other things overall when they do get back and get ready for the first game on the 22nd against the Boston Celtics. We can't see the generic offense.
I have a question for you too, coming out of that game. Who was the biggest disappointment in that game? Because there were obviously, when you have that type of shooting performance and you lose by double digits, there were a bunch of guys that you would say didn't play well.
Justin
Who's
Edwards.
the biggest disappointment?
Justin Edwards.
Yeah,
Because when we talked about him stepping up and scaling up a little bit in the summer, and he didn't, we all said, you know what? Maybe not fair because that's not who he is. When he's at his best is when he's doing what he was doing today, which is to catch and shoot from the players, making the plays and getting the ball to him. And this afternoon, he was 0 for 8, 0 for 7 from behind the three-point line in 16 minutes against the Knicks. He had some pretty good looks, and they didn't drop. And because of that, I would say today is Justin Edwards. And right away, Kyle, as soon as you ask that question, you get 2 immediately outside of us.
There's a couple more coming, too.
So,
well, and because look, Drummond didn't play well. Kelly Oubre didn't play well. But those are guys that, in Drummond's case, he didn't play well all last year. Oubre's divisive, right? And so people's expectations are all over the place. I think Justin, coming into this year, a lot of people were hopeful for because he was one of the few bright spots last year. He emerged out of pretty much nowhere, and we talked about it all the time. All he did was exactly what he needed to do. Take the open 3, rotate the ball if necessary, quick stop and pop mid-range if he needed to. And he has had a discouraging offseason. Granted, he did not have a good summer league during his rookie year either, and so reading too much into that, I'm not going to do. The environment is not great for him, obviously. And I do think, and this has popped up in the chat as well, and I agree with this, he is the sort of player that I think looks a lot better and is better suited for, you have all the guys available, and he's the 5th best guy on the floor. That's the perfect spot for him. He'll get higher quality shots. He won't have to do as much in terms of putting it on the deck and trying to attack people. But I am a little worried at how little he's been able to do this summer in terms of self-creation, right? Whether it's in Summer League, whether it's today in the second half, where you should be better than a good handful of those guys who are on the floor in the second half.
That's what we talked about
and
yesterday.
he's not creating separation. He's not getting to his spots and rising into a comfortable mid-range pull-up, not getting to the basket. The passing is sloppy. He had a turnover. I don't know if he actually was credited with the turnover, but he had a move where he attacked a closeout into a spin move and then threw a pretty wild pass into traffic that ends up sputtering out of bounds. That I really didn't like that. So I would like to see more from him. I will hold back and say when Joel is there, when PG is there, and Justin can just be you're in the weak side corner and you take the open 3, or you're on the opposite side wing and you take that 3 or drive, he is better suited for that. But what was he, 0 for 8? He finished that game?
0 for 7 on threes, 0 for 8 overall.
When you're 0 for 8 from the field and you don't really do anything else, he made maybe one defensive play that I can remember. That's a pretty discouraging day.
And he had 3 turnovers.
Yeah.
I don't know if they credit him for the one that you're talking about, but 3 turnovers overall. The problem I did have with, like you said, we'll give him time because we'll give him time, but the shots he had space on a lot of those shots. So even
And so
with,
maybe it's just a bad day to like
so
you just
even
say
with
he shot
Embiid
poorly.
or George or McCain or Grimes out there, the shots look good. He had some space on those, and he just flat out missed.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
hey, it's early, and we'll still see what it looks like. I just don't want him. And somebody, I think Cannoli brought it up. It's way early, but we had a lot of hope in Ricky Council coming in the year too. Whether it was made threes or not, it was just more of the hope from what we saw in year one. And you don't want to see that again happen to another guy that they found, and then it just doesn't work out in year two.
Polar opposite of Ricky in mentality and play style. But no, the concern is similar. I agree. And look, I think he had some good looks, but I thought a couple of them, especially early, were pretty rushed. And look, he can make rush threes. Like he has a real quick release, but there just isn't a whole ton of margin for error on a couple of the early ones. And maybe then that got into his head a little bit and he started pressing. Who knows? I do think when the stars are back, and especially Joel, I feel like he could potentially play well off of Joel. Having just an extra half second of time might help him a bit, but it also could just be a bad night. But when you have a bad night, you then also can't commit bad turnovers, and that kind of compounded the issue there.
Yeah, and one of the other things that was positive in the latter part of the season, when the season was done and they were already tanking, is that he put the ball on the floor a lot last year. And as Kyle said, going up against that second half of this game, the competition, Kale's not out there. Clarkson's out there, but he's not a defender. Even you said on the VJ part, go at him.
That was one of my complaints about VJ.
Yeah.
I wanted VJ to attack the Clarksons and the Tyler Koleks of the world out there.
Same for Justin Edwards, because we saw you do it last year. You're not having to be that
fifth
option.
Advantage.
Yeah,
go out there and use it.
Yeah, you're going against them, and we saw it last year. You don't have to be the fifth option with this unit. So go out there and do that same stuff. So I agree with you guys on Edwards. And before we get to any more, let's make sure we tell everybody about our sale that we have going on here at PHLY, and that is to become a diehard member. If you want to become a diehard member, you have not, at allphly.com. You get to choose your perk of which one you want to sign up for. You can get the $36 limited edition shirt. Choose from your T-shirt. You have the Birds, Phillies, and Sixers represented there. And you can become a diehard member that way. Or you can get the very cool new hat, the green, Kelly green color, green branded Bills diehard hat, limited quantity, at $59 for the year. So hat plus the subscription for all the great written content. Kyle is in mid-season form. He wrote up a recap on this one of that game. So the good, bad, the ugly was available.
Quentin Grimes story, a kind of explainer on where things are at with him and the roster after his decision.
Yes.
So a lot of Sixers stuff coming out. Sign up to be a diehard.
Sign up to become a diehard. And as you mentioned, Quentin Grimes, thank you. That's why we're teammates and you know me so well. We did an emergency pod yesterday. A lot of you were a part of it, but it's an emergency pod. So if you did not hear our thoughts, number one, go read Derek's story, but also our emergency pod is up on our YouTube page. Go check it out. Quentin Grimes back on the qualifying offer at $8.7 million. The Sixers did try to give him 8.8, but he wouldn't take it. Go read the story. Go watch the emergency pod.
Oh my God!
And
you just made me mad all over.
we appreciate all of your support. Was there anybody else number two behind Edgecombe? I mean, behind Edwards
and disappointment. So a lot of guys were bad. I will say this game highlighted a lot of the front court concerns that I think we have, right? So I think Drummond was worse of the two centers, right? Like Bona at least had you can see how they can use him in transition as a lob target and just someone for the guards to run the floor with. He can operate out of the dunker spot and finish. But I said to you guys multiple times during that game, I was like, that's a possession that Bona just gave back to the other team. Like rebounds that hit him in the hands or are in his vicinity that he didn't grab. And then that's Mitchell Robinson, Towns, Bridges, whoever it was, creating the extra possession. They swing the ball around. New York gets a look at a three or a layup. And those are points that you can't get back, right? So I thought for the couple lob finishes that Bona had, he gave back way more than that rebounding. Now, Drummond, I think, looked worse because he still just can't move out there. He cannot defend in space at a level that is adequate for how the game is played, like the amount of spread pick and rolls and the amount that they draw bigs out to the 3-point line. Drummond, whatever the toe did last year and whatever he might have gained from dropping some weight and coming in better shape, we did not see that on the floor tonight. So he was worse than Bona, but I would still say that the concerns we have about Bona are showing up on the film, showing up in the games. In terms of disappointments, though, I think Oubre is up there because he's somebody that started and is probably still in consideration for a starting job. To me, even with all the Grimes contractual stuff and the problems that might come from playing multiple guard, like 3-guard lineups, it's a pencil it in Maxey, Edgecombe, Grimes, PG, and Embiid starting lineup, because all the things that Kelly said on media day and in training camp about playing slower, being a better decision maker, I saw none of that. There was one play, and Janai Broom smoked the layup. It was a nice pass from Kelly after dragging the defense in. By and large, otherwise, it was the Kelly Oubre isolation pull-up show, and he ends up like 2 for 8 from the floor and was not good. So just a lot of the bad Kelly Oubre traits and very little of the good Kelly Oubre stuff today.
Yeah, and look, going back to Drummond, 2 things. First of all, if they're in contention, they're going to need him to play decent basketball.
Yeah.
Like Joel Embiid's going to miss games. Adem Bona, as we saw, is going to be inconsistent. You're not going to be able to rely on him for 35 a night when Joel's out. So if you're good, you need Drummond to give you quality minutes. And if you're bad, you need some team to convince themselves that they need Andre Drummond to give them quality minutes, because I don't know if you noticed from yesterday's podcast, but getting under the luxury tax might be a priority for Josh Harris in February. I don't want to be giving up multiple second-round picks because this guy is, not able to defend in space and can't play or stay on the floor. I'm really worried about what it will cost. First of all, I'm going to be really frustrated by ducking the tax for the 4th season in a row. But if I have to lose multiple draft picks to do so, it's not going to be a fun podcast. So I need him to play better, please.
We need to do like a duck in the tax segment for Derek Kyle.
I'm hoping.
Just
I'm
all
hoping,
duck emojis across the screen.
I'm hoping now that
the
Grimes
duck
is done,
emojis
we
in
don't
the
have to
chat
talk about
for
With
this.
Derek's
Derek.
face on there just floating by.
We got our first You Need Walker Kessler
of
of the
Vinny.
season.
What
from
up,
Vince.
Vinny? Oh, we need that. Let's get to
It
a
only
super-
took the first preseason game to get a Walker Kessler mention.
2 super chats from Davon and Marcus Black. Marcus Blackstock. What up, Marcus? Davon, a.k.a. Schoolboy Beats. First one, VJ got stiff Keely Ringo hips with the laughing emojis. Got to loosen up there, VJ. I just think
I didn't see much of that in this game. I do think that is a thing that when people talk about VJ's top end athleticism, that is a thing that probably holds him back from, like, he's not in the Amen Thompson type of tier, right? Like he's a tier below that, or maybe 2, depending on, we'd have to go through the list of athletes in the league. But I don't think we saw much of that today, at least in a way that meaningfully impacted the game.
Yeah. No, I agree. I wouldn't say a concern. It's not an elite athletic trait of his.
Yeah.
But I don't think it really hurt him all that much today.
All right, let's get to Marcus Blackstock here. Even more the reason why Edwards should have attacked more and took more shots today. No pressure at all. We just talked about that. So, Marcus, we agree. The competition that was out there with him in the second half, he should have went at them and put the ball on the floor. And when you are missing 7 threes, put the ball on the floor and go get a basket so you could see the ball go through the hoop.
It does seem like his game's pretty reliant on like the first couple shots going in. It seems like he can start second guessing himself or just not being aggressive enough if that doesn't happen.
I have another question for you guys. Of the 2 forwards
That's where I was going next.
played today, well, then
No, go for it.
sorry for taking your role as the point guard over
It's
here.
not my show. It's our
Man,
show. You can pass to me.
he
I'm
shows-
Barlow.
Barlow or Walker, who were you more encouraged by today? It's hard to judge because I think
It
Walker
is.
played a lot of the, we'll say, extended garbage time minutes. But
And his stat line looks better. But actually, I knew who Dominic Barlow kind of was, and I saw that today. I don't want him putting the ball on the floor. I don't want him doing that. His mid-range decisions sometimes can be a little questionable. but he will go and do the things that we've talked about that not enough Sixers players have done, and that is go after the basketball.
Yep.
And that is defensive rebounds, 50-50 balls, occasionally attacking the offensive glass. He had 1 today, 9 defensive rebounds. So many questions in our chat on the show have been, who's going to rebound the basketball? He's not going to be a starter, but when he gets minutes, if he gets those minutes, you know exactly what they're asking him to go out there and do, and that's bring energy and effort, and he did that.
Yeah. I would say I was relatively pleased with both of them. I do agree that Walker can get a little out of control sometimes, especially off the dribble.
And look, he knew who he was out there with. You didn't do Edwards. We're questioning, do you know who you're out there with? He knew exactly who he was out there with.
I like Barlow, like just mobility, and Barlow will rebound out of his area in a way that a lot of people on his team just don't. Which popped out with VJ too. Like VJ will rebound out of his area and really cover ground. It's nice to have a couple of those guys on the floor. Who wins? Whichever one makes shots. Like if either of you make shots, you will instantly catapult to the top of that rotation. Unfortunately, I don't have a ton of confidence in
what kind of shots? Because that's not Barlow's game, but we think that Walker can shoot a little bit from the perimeter. So what kind of shots?
But it's so low volume that it almost doesn't count. Although he attempted a couple of contested threes today, or at least one that I can remember. But I just need any of them.
Keyword attempted.
I mean, look, they shot 3 for 35 or whatever.
They both were 0 for 2 from 3.
Okay.
So nice 0
How about you?
So I do think what we saw from Barlow is more of what they need at that spot, right? If we assume that Watford is ahead of those guys in the pecking order, and you're only going to get one of these guys as a potential, you're talking 9th, 10th man type of minutes from these guys, right? I think Barlow, Derek's point about rebounding outside of his area is a fair one, right? I think Walker is more of the box out, good positioning type of guy.
Yeah.
And increasingly with the way the league works, right? You take more threes, that means more long rebounds. And that means that boxing out is not always going to be the way that you get rebounds. And so maybe Barlow has the edge in that department. I felt okay about Walker's put it on the floor game today, right? He was able, there were a couple of nice slot drives that he had toward the end of it. But again, that's extended garbage time. So I think you saw a little bit of what Nick Nurse was talking about in training camp, why he stood out, right? That Barlow is just to go up and get it. He's a live body athletically, good size. So I would say, as someone who thought Walker would probably be ahead of him, I think Barlow, for what this team needs of the two-way guys, probably slightly ahead for me, just based on what we saw today. But it really is just based on what does this team need, because we had a Knicks fan in here that was talking about the game, and they were right to bring up the Knicks were just killing them on the glass in the meaningful parts of this game. They had, I believe, 20 offensive rebounds. That's just not a sustainable way to beat teams, right? If they get 20 different second chance opportunities, you are not going to win a lot of basketball games playing that way.
Knicks had the advantage 31-25. Pardon me. Knicks had the advantage 31-25 at the half on the glass. And it was as far as 10-7 offensive rebounds in the first half between the two teams. So we'll see. But they both played well enough where we're still intrigued. No one jumped in front of the other, but Nick Nurse gave the edge to Barlow in this one. Let's see who the starting four is on Saturday when they play game 2 of the Abu Dhabi games. I have one more question for the guys, but before we do, let's head into a little bit of overtime there, Bree, at allphly.com. OT for the preseason basketball, not actual basketball, because if we had overtime in preseason basketball, we'd all be ticked off about that. But OT for the post-game show here. So thank everybody on the television side, on the Fast Channel. Really appreciate the support. As always, make sure when you come back on Saturday, because we are off tomorrow, everybody. We're off on Friday. When you come back Saturday for our post-game show, make sure you hit that like button and jump on over for overtime at allphly.com. So thank everybody. We really appreciate it. Once again, Saturday, post-game show, following the 11 o'clock game. No show tomorrow right here on the TV side or at allphly.com. We'll catch up with you on Saturday. Janai Broom, what did you see from the second round pick of the Sixers? Because you mentioned the play earlier where Kelly Oubre found him for an easy layup. He blew that one. Before that, he had played pretty well at that point.
It was a real,
and then it kind of went on the downslide a little bit.
a real mixed bag, like roller coaster type game, right? And I think what you saw is the yin and yang of, will this guy make it in the pros, right? Because I think what you liked is what we saw at Auburn, the positioning, right? Like always finding himself in spots where he could potentially make a play. He's getting into spots around the basket, finding himself open for jumpers, and frankly, rotated defensively pretty well. Like made a nice defensive play. I think he had 2 steals tonight, which not really expecting that from him. If we're talking about guys who are going to be benefiting from Nick Nurse's aggressive defense, he's not at the top of the list, but good job by him getting hands on balls. I would say, though, the athleticism is just not there. And there were several times where he's under the basket and you're like, he's just got no chance because he's smaller than these guys. He's not going up through them. He's not going around them. So he's got to have way more space than a lot of guys. Sometimes it will come down to just getting used to NBA speed and timing, right? We've seen that in the past. Talked about that during Summer League. When you get used to the Mitchell Robinsons of the world and all these other guys that he's up against, you'll get good at the shot fakes and the things you got to do to create that little bit of separation. But I saw all the concerns I had coming in, but also okay, maybe if this guy figures out the timing and pace of the game, he can find his niche in the league. But kind of got worse as the game went on. I was encouraged early and then just really tailed off as we approached the fourth.
The one that got me was outside of the one that he blew when Kelly found him perfectly right there on his side of the floor, the left-hand finish. All he had to do is tap the glass, boom, that's a layup, no problem. He was 2 for 7. That would have made it 3 for 7. But there was one on the opposite side, on the right side of the basket, where I've seen this so many times at Auburn where he would get a guy in the air. He's right there at the basket. He would get a little bump and finish at the rim, get to the free throw line. He didn't get the bump, and then he missed it, and they were going the other way. And that's where we were always talked about it pre-draft, and then even on draft night where we were all just kind of scratching our heads and reacting in the moment. But, I mean, that's where the problem will come into play. And if it's not Mitchell Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns, there's some talented bigs coming off the bench in the league that are more athletic than he is that may cause problems for him. And then the other part was the three-point shooting that we've talked about. He shot one air ball from the short corner that looked that was a bad look. And it's not like it was his first touch.
The announcers even had like a little chuckle after he shot that.
It wasn't like it was his first touch, Derek, either. He'd been out there for a while. It was like, all right, I'm a little loose. I can take this shot and make it. And this is what they encourage him to do. We saw it in Summer League too. It's only the first game, but like you said, a mixed bag and that three-pointer, man, that wind blew. It was like the sand just
somebody opened the door and
all of it was coming through there. So that was my observation. As many of you know, that I was not the biggest supporter of that draft pick going into it. And I said, let me reevaluate it and see it. Since they decided, I know he's a winner. I know what his resume is. But I just didn't see it with this basketball team in the league. And it's only game one, so I still reserve my judgment. Yeah. But early on, I was with Kyle and Derek and Bree. Looks pretty solid. And then it just started going the other way.
No, he really needs to make that shot. Like, because we saw in the Summer League, a lot of the stuff he did in college just didn't really translate all that well. He needs to be able to space the floor. And unfortunately today, there was a lid on the rim. Hopefully on Saturday, that is not the case, and we can actually start evaluating these guys.
Yeah. I to be positive, I think defensively he looked okay. And for him, that's going to be a big part of it too. It comes down to, can you defend multiple positions, which is going to be very tricky for him with the lack of size and athleticism. So it's going to all come down to timing, intelligence, rotations, things like that. And he's got good hands, right, on both ends of the floor. So hopefully he takes advantage of that. And then, as you guys both said, he's got to make shots, right? If he doesn't make shots, it's going to be very tough for him because he is not getting the design post-ups ever.
I hope not.
Maybe once in a while, right? But almost never are those going to come until if he proves himself in like a couple of years down the road, maybe you get some of those. But for right now, it's going to be rebound, make shots, and defend in space. And that's kind of it.
Yep. No, that's pretty much it for a preseason postgame show here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. We thank everybody for hanging out with us. Yes,
Very lively chat today.
Yeah, man. So it's good to see everybody in there. We appreciate the likes. Continue to hit the like button. While we're not walking away just yet, we just wanted to say thank you because we know a lot of people are dipping off and work is finishing. You're leaving work and you're getting in the car. So we want to say thank you as you, if you can't hang with us for the quick news and notes that we have. Thank you, and we'll see you, of course, on Saturday.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as a reminder, we will not have a show tomorrow. Tomorrow is our day off, but we'll be back here Saturday for that game.
So with it, though, Bree already said it in the chat that we do have more interviews dropping. The full interviews from Tyrese Maxey, Nick Nurse, and VJ Edgecombe are already out. We have 2 more dropping. Is it tomorrow, Bree?
Janai Broom at 5, and then tomorrow will be Watford.
There you go.
There
you go. Janai Broom, we just talked about him.
It'll be the first we've seen of Watford all preseason so far.
And trending Watford as well. So we have some fun stuff coming your way. And we'll make sure that, please go check it out once again on our YouTube page and make sure you like it as well. All right, news and notes. This one happened during the game, so I had to clip it because Kyle said, look at that. Bree, throw it up on the screen.
Valdez! There are a lot of people who either didn't know that was his name during the pre-draft process.
Well, you clearly weren't watching this show because Brian Pumper brought it up all the time.
Highlighted that his name is Valdez. And game 1, night 1, right out the chute, Valdez Edgecombe. So that was, for anyone who's new here, that was people who didn't like VJ in the pre-draft really liked highlighting that his actual name is Valdez.
Yeah.
So we had a nice chuckle at that one.
That was a pretty funny one.
We will be calling him VJ on this show, though.
Yes.
Valdez is fine. It's a fine name.
Well, again, I go by what he goes by.
No, I know. I agree.
I just thought it was funny that popped up.
I mean, I just like his middle name being Drexel because I'm a Drexel's Dragon grad.
There you go. All right, Valdez. Good game. Good start to your career. We'll see you on Saturday. And finally, the Sixers did announce today that the blue and white scrimmage will be held on Friday, October 3rd. Tickets go on sale Friday, October 3rd for general admission for everybody. It will take place on Sunday, October 12th at noon. So the blue and white scrimmage, Sunday, October 12th at noon. It will be in Delaware at Chase Fieldhouse, home of the Delaware Bluecoats, where I'm sure we'll see Hunter Salas quite a bit this year. Maybe some Janai Broom minutes out there from time to time, and some others. You'll see them there, but you'll see all of them there, whoever's on the roster, Sunday, October 12th at noon. Tickets go on sale starting Friday, October 3rd at 1 p.m. So we'll see you there for that one. Are the Eagles playing on the 12th?
Bye week.
Perfect. They knew. We're not going up against the Eagles.
No.
So let's do this now.
They're going against an event that I will be at. That's not the blue and white scrimmage.
So I guess Derek and I will be there for the blue and white scrimmage maybe on that day. So we'll see you all there. Make sure you go check out all our videos from Media Day, from the press conferences that the guys posted, of course, with everybody. And then our 2-on-1 conversations that Rich and I had with Nick Nurse, Tyrese Maxey, and VJ Edgecombe. Upcoming next will be Janai Broom at 5 today, and tomorrow we'll have Trendon Watford available to you as well. So we appreciate everybody. Let's get to the world famous.
You got to go watch that whole
roll
VJ
call
one.
time,
That
baby.
was a great one.
I need my supporters club members to hit the roll call emojis in the chat. I need every one of you, because there's still a lot of you left, to hit the damn like button on this show on the way out. Helps us a lot, makes Bree feel good, makes me feel good. I need those likes like I need oxygen. Give them to me. It helps out the show. It helps out the channel so we can continue to give you everything that you want and more to get you those great interviews like Devon and Rich did with the Sixers on Media Day. So thank you. I'm not excluding anyone, but there are a lot of people today. So there's a lot of names I got to get through. To Mellow 3 Point, to Brandon from New Jersey, Rich P, Vic.
What up, Rich?
Habib, Lamar Williams, Greeny Green.
Greens.
Martian Lynch, Wawa Marvel, DJ, a.k.a. Mr. Sandman.
It is out there in Abu Dhabi.
Philly Dell,
Blowing
Phil
that wind.
W.
Oof.
Who did I just bring up recently that I hadn't seen in a while? Holy Cannoli!
Holy Cannoli is back.
The games are back and Cannoli is back. Good to see you, buddy.
You said Phil W was in there, right?
I did say Phil W is
Kelly
back.
Oubre, Phil W. What happened today?
We had Chad. We had Mark Reason, who had lots of takes today. Hello to Mark. Good to see you. Jay came in today and said, just random, but I love y'all. So thank you to Jay. Thank you to Jay. Thank you to B. Wilkes, to Brian Knight, to Mikhail. Not to be confused with your Mikhail.
Maybe it is. You
but
don't
another
know that.
Different spelling.
What up, Kelly Kale?
Thank you, Mikhail. Thank you, Elaine Bruno, Jake Firestone, Thaddeus Bartley.
What up, Thad?
Who came? I think Thad is a new listener. Was like, who is Bree? And was not doing it in a pejorative way. It was trying to learn. And Thad will tell you, like we tell everyone else, we will have pregame and postgame for every regular season game. We're doing post games for all the preseason games. We're also on 5 days a week for anyone who's new around here. So off days, non-game days, you can always catch up with us at 3 p.m. Thank you to Thad. Thank you to Mr. Midrange, to Win Forever, to Inner Dog, Sean Ford, Mom's Grandchildren.
Hello,
what's up
Mom.
to Mom? Lost Sleep TV, Rookie Rook, Music Lover 31.
What up, Rook?
We had a Knicks fan, Nick Yak, in here today.
What up, Nick Yak?
We had Theo, PSU Iverson, Sean Sharp, Hassan Grimes,
AI,
Densley, Yams, Darkness.
Turn the lights down for the Sixers outside shooting.
Mark Jackson.
Wasn't there.
We had a super chat from Davon, a.k.a. Schoolboy Beats. We had a super chat from our guy, Marcus Blackstock. Thank you to both of you. Wonderful fellas. Thank you to Hedfa, 215J Philly, Leonard Blocker, Lena Wynn, A. Ron, Eugene Ross, K. Taylor, Jay of the Jungle, a.k.a. John of the Forest. Say what?
Say what?
Johan, Smart Guy, and Tyrese Maxey fan 17. Getting real specific on all y'all asses.
Say what? They
Thank you,
offered
guys.
Quentin Grimes an extra $100,000.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. We had fun today. We have fun every day. Hopefully, if you're a new person here, you have fun with us every day moving forward. We're here 5 days a week, rain or shine. The Sixers are always doing something, and when they're not, we're still talking about them.
20 days away from the regular season tip-off, everybody.
Please, on the way out, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Just as importantly, we're very close to 50K. I need it. I need that 50K subscribers.
50K.
Because then we're going to
What are you
100K.
doing?
Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you get notifications each and every time we go live. And please, one last time, hit the thumbs up button for super producer Bree, making it all happen. We'll be back on Saturday. Sixers Knicks post game. We'll estimate sometime around 1:30 or so.
Somewhere.
Day off tomorrow on Friday, but see you Saturday afternoon for another Sixers Knicks post game. Until then, love y'all. Stay safe. Take care of one another. Goodbye.
See
We
ya.
hit 100K. We're going Sizzler.
Thanks, Rothman.
We all silly like the mayor.